Coming up, council members vote to remove an Eastern Kentucky mayor.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The Buckhorn City Council in Perry County voted unanimously tonight to remove Mayor Paul Robert Turner. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox tells us what led to their decision.
Elected in November 2022, Paul Robert Turner became the 6th mayor of Buckhorn in January 2023. A year later, he has been removed. City council members say issues began in the summer. The city attorney says one instance of questionable financial practices involved a 4th of July fireworks display.
You have to have an insurance policy and have to follow all the regulations if you want to shoot fireworks to protect us from liability, and he indicated that he would reach out and get a policy to cover that. Turns out that was not true.
Collins says Turner went on to spend thousands of dollars without authorization from the council. He says they have no receipts from several purchases made using city money.
He told us things that just actually weren't true, and he broke the trust with them, and then there's money that we don't know where it went.
Collins also says Turner threatened to sabotage plans for a water plant in Buckhorn.
He is, for the last 2 months, basically refused to work with the city of Hazard.
In late November, Collins says Turner threatened to fire him and clerk Joy Stamper. Collins says that is illegal. He says Turner has not spoken to them since, leading to Tuesday's vote. Collins says the city council has 30 days to choose someone to fill in the role as the next mayor, and if they don't, the governor's office will select somebody to fill in that role. In Buckhorn, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, we reached out to former Buckhorn Mayor Paul Robert Turner. He has so far not responded.
Well, we are tracking some cold weather as we close out your Tuesday. Some of us already down into the 20s at this hour. Let's take a look at those temperatures. You can see we're down to 26 in Grundy, 25 in Clintwood, down to 28 for Manchester, also Hazard, and 31 over in Pikeville. So some more cold weather is on the way as we go into tonight. And up on first alert, pinpoint Doppler as high pressure once again controls the forecast. We are tracking some dry weather as we go into tonight, but notice back to the north over those northern states, we are tracking a cold front, and that will continue pushing into our direction as we go into late Wednesday, also on Thursday. But your forecast for tonight is dry, also cold. Temperatures are well below freezing as you wake up on Wednesday, in the middle to upper 20s, so be sure to bundle up as you wake up and walk out the door on your Wednesday morning commute. But some more nice weather is on tap on Wednesday. We are dry under a partly sunny sky. Those temperatures also topping out close to average for early January in the middle to lower 40s, but big changes on tap as we go into this weekend. Your full forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. A disturbing find in southern Kentucky. Now animal advocates are pushing for answers. They want to know who's dumping dead dogs. It's happening in the Daniel Boone National Forest in McCreary County. Garrett Weimer was tipped off about it and went to investigate. What he found may be upsetting to some viewers.
We've been able to identify the dogs and where they came from by these collars.
For an animal lover like Melissa,
it's heartbreaking.
It's hard not to dream about the lives these dogs lived before she found them.
You know, you think about these dogs, each of them was a puppy at some point. A puppy that belonged to somebody.
But now, 6 collars in her hand, Melissa knows
this is all that's left.
It's why on this rainy December day, in a very remote area of McCreary County, we're driving 2.5 miles out a 1-lane gravel road, searching for something we hoped we wouldn't find.
Bags, bones, carcasses, animals in different stages of decomposition.
The discovery, dozens of dogs, dead and dumped. It makes no sense, even to these animal rescue workers who have seen a lot.
I don't have the answers. This is shocking to us too, because it's very confusing on why it's happening, because it shouldn't be.
A man who did not want to be on camera says he first stumbled upon the dogs shortly after he bought land out Andy Watson Road that he says butts up to the national forest.
There are several different dump sites just in this one section, a number of dead dogs scattered over this hillside. Some are in trash bags, some are rotting out in the open, and yes, you can even smell them.
A little farther up the hill, just past the eerie guardians of a small cemetery, we find another, less hallowed graveyard. Amid skulls and bones, the bodies of 7 dogs thrown out like trash.
And it's disrespectful to the life of the dog who was failed by humans while it was alive, and now it's being failed by humans again. And that's not right.
These 7 dogs seem to match those seen in the back of a truck, spotted December 20th on a trail cam put up by the property owner, driving up the hill with dogs and going down the hill with an empty truck bed.
Our stomachs are starting to flip a little bit.
Melissa had come up here to check those animals for injuries. She found none.
They appear to have been euthanized and frozen.
And healthy.
They looked healthy.
That raises even more questions. Dumping dead animals out in the open is against state law.
We have laws.
We have
but they're not enforced. We want these laws enforced.
I don't get emotional except when I hold these collars.
Melissa says she took off the dog's collars as a sign of respect.
I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I feel like I owe them. The respect of keeping them. Unless I have to turn them over, that's what I plan to do.
And she vows to make sure whoever's doing this is stopped. In McCreary County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
We reached out to state police and the U.S. Forest Service. We are told they are working together to investigate. The Forest Service says the dump site is on federally managed land. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office needs your help identifying the theft suspects you see there on your screen. These pictures were taken at a business north of London. The Sheriff's Office says several things were stolen. They say the suspects were last seen driving toward Jackson County in a white Nissan Maxima with a UK plate. If you have any information, contact the Laurel County Sheriff's Department. Also in Laurel County, deputies are warning about a phone scam. The caller wants people to pay money to Buckhorn regarding not reporting for jury duty. Officials say it is a scam to steal money from unsuspecting citizens, and officials urge you not to give out any personal data or financial information. The Kentucky Help statewide call center is now open earlier for those in need. The center is extending its weekday hours by 90 minutes. They say it's to better serve those struggling with substance use issues. Jeremy Tom spoke with their director about the importance of the move.
Since the Kentucky Help statewide call center was established in 2017, its staff have received nearly 25,000 inquiries.
Anybody can reach out to us. It can be the individual in need of treatment. It can be a loved one. It can be a professional that's seeking some options for someone they're working with.
Screening and referral specialists are on the other end of that line, working to connect those in need with treatment options. Once in treatment, the call center goes a step further to help them stay in sobriety.
If they're having issues paying their rent or with transportation or with any of those things, then we will actually dig in and see what resources we can find in their area.
But if a person calls too late or too early,
when we return that call, a lot of times we don't get an answer.
Director Jamie Gillum says the chance to offer that help has gone. She says the most missed calls come in between 7 and 8:30 in the morning.
My guess is that, if someone has maybe been using through the night, they're still awake and still thinking about things.
So they're extending their hours to cover that gap as they continue to deal with the drastic impacts of addiction and overdoses. She hopes these extra 90 minutes each day can make a difference in more Kentuckians' lives.
Our goal is really just to make sure that we are able to meet people where they're at the time frame that they're able to reach out to us.
Jeremy Toms, WKYT.
Operation Unite staffs the call center. Gilliam says they will not need to add staff to their Prestonsburg office to cover the extra hours. If you or someone you know is dealing with issues from substance use, you can find the Help Center's contact information in this story on our website. Kentucky lawmakers are back at work at the state capitol. They'll be working during the next several months to pass a budget and other issues. Today, some Democrats called into question the process for voting on bills. They pointed to a study by the League of Women Voters that found a lack of transparency. They also say too many bills are fast-tracked through committees for votes. Republicans say the study was flawed. The top priority this session is the budget. It's not clear yet what other bills may come up for a vote. Teachers throughout the Commonwealth have their eyes on Frankfort as the legislative session begins. Governor Beshear is proposing an 11% pay raise, but that's far from a done deal. WYMT's Madison Carmouche spoke with the Chief Financial Officer of Perry County Schools about what this could mean for educators and students.
Just ahead of budget approval in the Kentucky legislature, an analysis by the Kentucky Center for Economic Policy revealed that after accounting for inflation, teachers in the Commonwealth will make nearly $10,000 less in the 2023 to 2024 year than they did in the 2007 to 2008 year.
We love it when legislation begins to talk about, pay raises and compensation for school district employees, and whether or not that's going to happen, of course, might be left up to them, but we're excited about the conversation that's about to take place.
Chief Financial Officer of Perry County Schools, Jody Maggard, says many educators have families to provide for, so it's hard to both retain and recruit them.
But you don't see a lot of traditional four-year college degrees for education anymore coming out, and I think that's has something to do with it. And I think one of the great injustices that a lot of people don't realize is that you're asking teachers to have 3 college degrees to make $50,000 a year.
Maggard says he hopes that if the pay increase is approved, then more people from the region will pursue a career in education.
If we can say that you can come back home and earn as much money as you could elsewhere, have a wonderful career and great opportunities, be able to raise your family here, then it just all comes together and works.
Maggard says he and others are hopefully awaiting the outcome.
Our ears are open to what's going on in Frankfort, and it's already been a lot of talk around the office this morning. Opening day, sessions starting, there's been a lot of talk.
In Perry County, Madison Carmouche, WYMT Mountain News.
Maggard says he believes the proposed raise would improve the overall education of students, as he expects more educators to join and stay in the field. Before the legislative session got underway this morning, the state's constitutional officers were sworn in. The Attorney General, Secretary of State, Agriculture Commissioner, Auditor, and Treasurer all took their oaths of office. Senator Mitch McConnell was also in attendance. Tomorrow, Governor Beshear will deliver his State of the Commonwealth address. It will be the first of his new term. It's set to happen at 7 o'clock tomorrow night before a joint session of the Kentucky State Senate and House of Representatives. We'll, of course, have a recap tomorrow night at 11. The Letcher County Airport Board announced they have received approval from state and federal officials to build an airport. The airport will be located in Isom near the Double Quick. Pine Mountain Partnership Executive Director Jeffrey Justice says they received help from Congressman Hal Rogers in getting approval. Justice says they plan to have the airport built within the next 5 years. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, a community waiting for flood repairs for nearly a decade might finally see some progress.
Plus, the forecast is looking busy by this weekend. Those details after this break.